What's up, everybody? My name is Sid, and I've teamed up with the big homie Reg to bring y'all something new, something we like to call Beyond the Scoreboard. Y'all be sure to review, rate, and subscribe. Let's get to it.
I got ice in my veins.
Here at Beyond the Scoreboard, we love when we can get other people who love sports just as much as us to stop by. Joining us today, we have the host of Smack 'em World TV, and he's also a co-host of the Give 'em Hope podcast. Today we welcome Shabazz McClellan. What's up, Boz? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, fellas, man? Glad to be here, man. I'm a subscriber to y'all show. I listen to all of them, man. So next time I get on it, it's gonna be kind of weird to listen to yourself. I don't know how y'all feel about when y'all hear yourself in the radio, but it's gonna be kind of weird and fun at the same time. So I'm looking forward to diving in with y'all on this today, man.
That's it, man. Sid said he feel weird hearing himself.
Yeah,
I saw you put that on something.
Yeah, you be like, man, I sound like that.
Exactly.
It's all good, but man, we really thank you for taking time out, joining us. It's good having another Who Dat on here, so we love that, especially this time of year with the playoffs going on. And speaking of playoffs, we're gonna dive right into it. The Bears took on the Saints. And we're going to, talk about this game, and we're going to also have Shabazz a little bit later to take an inside look of this week's game against Tampa Bay. But the Saints took on the Bears. Boz, what did you get from that game?
Defense. They played out their mind. But before that 99-yard drive, they only gave up 130 yards the whole game. And I don't care if it's the Bears or not, man. If you're playing at a championship level, 130 yards in the whole game, and that 99-yard was kind of like, hey, we won the game. We don't care. They kind of played a prevents defense, but they dominated the Bears, man. They take away the trick play that Sims dropped in the end zone. That was the only thing that was like, and I text Reds during the game, so I was like, I feel good about the defense. So I took defense is going to lead us to the championship. It's safe to say that they're going to carry us. Normally it was, Drew Brees in the offense throughout the years, but that's doomsday defense right there, man. Like, they shut it down. And another thing I took away from, man, what is Gardner Johnson saying to these receivers, man, to make them man, listen, I don't know what he's saying, but they all swing on him. But it's like a mind game, I guess he's playing with him. But Gardner Johnson, he plays well on the field, and then he got that mouth too. He talking to him crazy and making him mad.
Yeah,
I love it though, because we all played the game before, so I love it. Like him getting underneath their skin. But the defense, for the most part, Drew's gonna have to throw over 250 yards every game for us to win. It's got to be over 250 for me to be like, okay, I feel better, and that's why I really took out of it, man.
I'll tell you what, you spoke about us texting, but I text Sid. Yeah, he can't keep taking these shots. I'm sorry, man. He take a shot better than anybody, man. He don't even flinch. He don't even think about reacting back in a negative way, man. He can't keep doing that. I don't care how many penalties you getting out there, man. You can't keep taking them to the face. But Sid, how did you see the game, man? I know going into it, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown for those who this may be your first show catching. Sid does not, in any way, shape, or form, like to see Taysom Hill taking a snap at the quarterback position. And it happened quite a few times this past game against the Bears. So, Sid, what did you see in this matchup?
Well, I'm going to start where I'm able to actually just agree with Shabazz on it about defense, man. Because the first thing I said to you after the game, Reg, was our defense went out there and did what they were supposed to do. Whether it was against the Bears, whether it's against Tampa Bay next week, Kansas City, whoever it is, that defense has to go out there and play at a championship level in order for us to be able to get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl this year. They picked it up halfway through the season and been rolling ever since then. So I know you was trying to take a little credit away from them, saying, hey, it's the Bears, but still you got to go out there and you got to do your job. I know before their last drive, I want to say they had 6 first downs throughout the whole game, and that's without us getting too much pressure on Mitch Trubisky, to be honest. I know we only had 1 sack, and really we didn't pressure him much that game. Mm-hmm. So that's our secondary, that's our linebackers being able to really step up, make plays, not miss tackles. And the offensive side of the ball is what we're going to have to see it pick up going into next week, but that's a rhythm thing. That's a consistency thing. Before yesterday, Drew Brees and Michael Thomas had only played 10 quarters together this whole season. Kamara missed last week because of COVID, Latavius Murray. All those guys are getting back together and getting into a place where they have to pick up their rhythm and their consistency. So, of course, you went into this game expecting it to be a bigger gap than what it ended up being, 12 points. So you can even say 21-3, honestly, because that's what it really was. You expected to see a bigger gap, but, man, that defense went out there and did what they were supposed to do, and that allowed our offense to survive, not really being able to click on a level that we're used to seeing them click. Well, and to touch on the Taysom Hill thing, you're absolutely right. I hate seeing him getting snaps at quarterback, whether Drew Brees is healthy or not. But man, you talked about it yesterday. It absolutely makes zero sense when Drew Brees is hot or Drew Brees is rolling. And to take momentum from him to put Taysom Hill in that quarterback, it makes no sense. It never has. So yeah. I'd love less of that going forward.
And I'm not knocking the Saints. I'm not knocking our team for what they accomplished, because every win is big, especially a playoff win. However, maybe I'm just a little bit spoiled from the Drew Brees that I've seen the last 10, 15 years. When I see a less of opponent, I'm looking for us to dominate them. Defense aside, because none of my bad views came from the defensive side of the ball. Our defense was phenomenal. I just was looking forward to the offense doing a little bit more than what they've done, simply because it's the playoffs. This is a game you're projected to win. I wanted to come out and be more dominant, more physical, and score more points, especially early in the game. We scored our first points of this game with 4 minutes and some change in the first quarter, remaining in the first quarter. We didn't get any more points until the last 5 minutes of the third quarter. I always just look ahead and say, if we were playing against such and such, that wouldn't work. The Bears defense, for the most part, was beat to hell too. I mean, it was missing 2 or 3 people in the secondary. We talked about Sid before this game. They were one linebacker missed, the other linebacker played hurt. And then we know what Mitchell Trubisky is at the end of the day. So I just feel like if we would have put up this kind of fight against a team like Tampa Bay or any other NFC team that can score points, I think we would have been in a world of trouble. And once again, all my complaints come from the offensive side of the ball. Can we fix it? Yes. Do I think Sean Payton will handle it going forward? Yes. I just wasn't prepared to see us struggle offensively against the Bears. That's all that was.
Yeah. And I can definitely see that. And like you said, the Bears overall, they have a good defense. But like you say, for them to have been missing people in the secondary, missing their best linebacker in Roquan Smith, you definitely saw that as an opportunity to take advantage for that Saints offense. But like I say, I'm going to chuck it up to not having that consistency with those players, whether they've been missing throughout the season or just missing last week and having to come back and, get back to the rhythm for this week. And like you say, I have all the trust in the world that Sean Payton is going to go out there and correct that going into next week, especially, like you say, it's want to go home now. Like, we're in the playoffs now. It's want to go home. Leave it all out there on the field.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed that I've mentioned on the show the past several weeks, ever since Drew Brees returned to action with the KC game, he's put the ball in harm's way. Almost every game, he gives the defense, if not at least 2 balls that possibly could be intercepted. Once again, we saw that against Chicago in yesterday's game. Shabazz, going forward, do you think that Drew Brees can be a turnover machine against Tampa Bay?
No, I'm not this. No, because I'm going off strictly film. He's balled out against Tampa. Like the 2 times they played, he's simply just balled out. But see, the only thing I told you, I do not want to play Tampa. I said that before because it's hard to beat somebody 3 times.
True.
The year we beat Cam 3 years, we beat him, but it's still, I didn't want to play. I don't want to play nobody 3 times, especially in professional football, because you can get caught up. Sean Payton he's a great offensive mind. We all know that, but you can get caught up in saying this worked. We're not gonna change it.
Yep.
But Tampa Bay, if we just gonna be honest, they have been balling for the past 5 games. The offense have got some type of chemistry going, and Tom is he's acting like Tom Brady of the old. So I don't really worry about Tom because he struggled to get in that dome. He struggled in that dome that first game of the year. And I know we didn't have preseason, and I know we didn't have training, but everybody.
It's Tom Brady.
Like it's still Tom Brady, but
right.
I think Drew understands this could be the last ride. Do not be don't put the ball in harm's way. I definitely think we could handle business, man. Drew he knows what at stake, man. The Super Bowl, and we've been last 3 years been heartbreaks, and I don't think he don't need to add on to it. Drew he finally looked comfortable to me in the pocket, just a little bit more comfortable. And that one throw he made to the tight end. Well, I forgot my boy's name. What's my boy? What's the number? The tight end. Our tight end. What's his name?
Jared Cook.
Jared Cook.
The defender was able to break on it.
Oh man, it was a low and down. It was low and down, but Cook used his athletic ability and caught it. That was the only ball I was like, oh. Ooh, Drew, that could have been pick 6. That could have been pick 6. But other than that, man, Drew played good. He played good.
I got you. You spoke about beating the team 3 times in 1 year, how hard it was. Not only did we have to go against Cam, of course, Christian McCaffrey, but Carolina defense was phenomenal that year as well. Yep. So it is extremely, extremely hard to beat a team 3 times. And that, just touching back, it just shows how great the defense played, because earlier we played this team. They were able to put up 20-something points on us. We took away all that. Away all that. They saw what they had success doing, what they could do to counter us. When we're in this, look what they can do to offset us. They couldn't get nothing rolling. So shout out to the defense. And if we continue to play like this, like you say, sky's the limit. See if there's anything else that you wanted to add to this, man.
I just wanted to touch on that. Because I don't fall into the belief of that it's difficult to beat a team 3 times.
What?
Just because I feel like it's something people put out there because it sounds good. Because statistically, if you look at it statistically, teams who have had to play, teams that have played 3 times in the season, it ain't, that's not the case if you look at it statistically. I think it's 65% or even better than that one team wins all 3 victories. But the same can be said about, we talk about it all the time, man, those divisional matchups. You playing that team 2 times a year, of course that's going to give you familiarity with them. It's going to make it a little more challenging. But once again, we dominated them twice already. We know what it takes to work. But the question you posed to him about whether Drew Brees will be a turnover machine going into Tampa Bay, I'm going to go back to what I've been saying since we started this show. I don't trust Tampa Bay secondary. So if you're telling me that Drew Brees turns the ball over Sunday, I feel like it's going to have to be because our O-line has let somebody through and he's fumbled the football. But when it comes to throwing interceptions, I don't see him really giving the ball away to that Tampa Bay defense like that.
Okay, so we're definitely starting to transition into the Tampa Bay preview, and I don't want to give out all the good stuff too early, too soon. Shabazz will definitely be back with us just in a little bit to go over the game with Tampa Bay this weekend. So Shabazz, we thank you for joining us with the best segment, and we look forward to seeing you a little bit later. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So let's look at the rest of the games that occurred during Wildcard weekend. The first one of the weekend was Ravens-Titans. I want to say you picked the Ravens in that one. I picked the Titans. It ended up being a touchdown game, 20-13. What were your takes from that game?
Well, the uncertainty of Corey Davis playing, that was one. 2, the Ravens didn't show all year long that they can stop the run, so I wasn't confident that they would be able to contain Henry, but they did. And I mean, they really forced Tannehill to throw the ball. And it got scary at first because Tannehill, man, he was dialed in. Him and A.J. Brown had a lot of success early, and they were doing it on a true corner. One of the best corners. I have this guy probably top 3 to top 5 corner in Marlon Humphreys. And I mean, A.J. Brown was making it look easy. But the Ravens, they stuck. And I think we talked about this before the game. I said, man, look, I don't care how many passing yards Ryan Tannehill has, he's going to have to beat me. I don't care how bad he makes this secondary look, he's going to have to beat me because I know Derrick Henry can do it. So
Yeah.
they stuck to their guns. They stayed true to their word, and the defense got a little better. They continued to force Tannehill to throw the ball. And you know what? He didn't force many passes, but I think the one mistake he truly made, that was the mistake that cost him the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this game, I remember going into it, I was saying Tennessee has Derrick Henry and the Ravens don't. And that will be the difference. And the crazy thing is it ended up being Baltimore has Lamar Jackson and Tennessee doesn't.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. When you said that, one team has Derrick Henry and the other don't, and I was like, you know what? One team has Lamar Jackson and the other don't. And
Yeah.
we know what Derrick Henry can do. All right, it's no secret now. We know what he's capable of doing. He can take over a game, and he can put his team on his back for the course of the game. Unlike Lamar Jackson, he normally can't do it for all 4 quarters. But with the speed he has, I'm like, he's just so dangerous that once he get even, he leaving. There's no catching him once he get on side of you. It's too late, and that's exactly what happened. He made one play, and I don't want to say he made one play. That one play really gave them the lead. It gave them momentum, and it was the difference maker in the ball game.
100%. And going into that game, we talked about it. We was like, well, Baltimore has to stop the run. They have to bottle up Derrick Henry.
Yep.
They were able to do that. Derrick Henry finished 18 rushes for 40 yards. And then on the other side, a big thing that I had pointed out was the receivers for Baltimore and how successful they could be. And then you look at Hollywood Brown, and he ends up going out there and getting 7 catches for 109 yards. So then you couple that with Lamar Jackson giving you 130 on the ground, and that's hard to beat. That's very hard to beat. And then, like you said, Marlon Humphreys in that secondary for Baltimore played lights out. They didn't give up much to Ryan Tannehill. So once again, I'm not shocked that Baltimore won the game. It was one of those closer matchups of the weekend. I just definitely didn't see it going that way. I didn't see Lamar Jackson putting the team on his back and being able to really lead them to victory in that manner.
Yeah, and the most interesting thing that I found in the game is that Baltimore allowed Tennessee to have a
again, it's back to that offensive line and not being able to block people. Man, the Rams are going in there with what, the number 1 defense or the number 2 defense in the league overall.
I think they finished number 1.
Yeah, and you can't block anybody. Like, even if it wasn't Aaron Donald over there, like, you can't block any of these guys. So they ended up giving 5 sacks, and of course, Russell Wilson is running for his life the whole game. But once again, this is all stuff that we expected going into this game. What I didn't expect was success from their quarterback, whether it had continued to be Warford or, them having to rely on Jared Goff, and Jared Goff going in there, getting comfortable with his injury as the game went on and being able to do more with it in order to lead them to a victory. Cam Akers had 130 yards on the ground. Jalen Adams out there playing with a torn labrum. It was a lot that went against Seattle in that game, and even with uncertainty at the quarterback position for the Rams, they were able to take advantage of all of that.
Yeah, and we touched about the run, how important the run is. In the playoffs, you have to be able to run the ball. But truly, when you think of Seattle, you think of their offense, of course not the defense, and you say, what do they do better than almost any other team? They're able to throw the ball deep. They're able to put fear in defenses because they have 2 receivers that can get on top of you. But Jalen Ramsey, this is what he got his payday for. I love saying this, by the way. I love the traditional, I'm the best corner. This is what I do. I want him. I love that in DBs. I love that in Jalen Ramsey. And he took DK away. Like, he took him away. But if you're Seattle, back do leave outside those tackles. So that's dead. And they kept trying to do it. I'm like, bro, it's not going to work. So even when Donald went out and he got hurt, they still was able to get pressure. And that was the part that said, all right, whatever y'all got going on is real bad. Leonard Floyd chasing Russell Wilson down. I'm like, all right, Leonard Floyd's fast. He's been consistent all year. But when Donald leaves and you're still getting pressure right in your face, up the gut, something wrong, Seattle. Something wrong, man. Something wrong. Y'all got something to work on.
And that's something we've pointed at this whole season. Even when they started off 5-0, we were looking at it and saying, well, Russell Wilson is winning these games despite his offensive line. When they got off to that great start, and we knew it was only for so long that they were going to be able to hold that up. Saturday night's game, which was probably the best game of the day for me, which was the Buccaneers against the Washington football team. There was a lot of surprises in this one. So what was your biggest takeaways from that game?
It was the most shocking game because I actually had this one being the most, I would say, the second lopsided game of the weekend. I thought Tampa was really going to, destroy Washington. Washington got off to a pretty good start, and it really didn't show on the scoreboard because of the drops that they had early on in the game. Of course, their quarterback outplayed himself. He played himself into a conversation of possibly starting for Washington next year, or at least being looked at as that. Tampa Bay offense is the strength of their team. It's not much because their running game is so inconsistent. If Washington was able to get more pressure, I really thought their front seven was going to be able to get to Tom Brady, and it wasn't. And to me, more than anything else, that was the story of the game. If they could have been more consistent on getting pressure on Tom Brady the way their quarterback played, I really do think Washington would have won this ball game.
And once again, it's about the line of scrimmage in general, because I didn't see them going in there and getting they almost got 100 yards with Leonard Fournette after Ronald Jones went out. They almost hit 100 yards rushing. I didn't see them being able to do that. Nope. And then on top of that, like you say, they had a clean pocket for Tom Brady most of the game. I think he ended up getting sacked 3 times, but that's nowhere near the pressure that we thought Washington was going to be able to put on him throughout that football game. Because even looking at it, Tom Brady, 22 of 40, Like even with them not actually getting the pressure we thought they would, they secondary held up better than I thought they would.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
secondary was great.
but like you say, and Heineke put them in positions to where, like I say, I feel like they were a bit timid with him early, just because this is this man's first time starting for this organization. Period.
Right.
And only have been brought in a month or so ago. So I feel like they were kind of timid with him early, but as the game went on, the more comfortable they got with him
Mm-hmm.
and being able to open up the playbook to him. Like I've been saying that this Tampa Bay team does not scare me. They don't.
Something to think about. I know we just spoke about the Bears. I would match up with the Bears, but if you're a Saints fan, you go into that game thinking the same. We about to put it
Yeah.
on the Bears. It's going to be a
Yep.
blowout, and that really wasn't the case. We didn't score a
Exactly.
whole bunch of points, and I think the same thing happened to Tampa Bay. They went in expecting to blow this team out, but and plus Washington, they kind of won the division by default, because normally it's like, oh, if you're in the playoffs, you're a good team. I
Yeah.
feel like no matter who would have made the division, who would have made the playoffs out of that division, we would have never looked at them as a good football team. However,
Yeah.
Washington, the strength of their whole team is their front four.
Yeah.
Them failing to be consistent with pressure, I mean, that just gives the edge to Tom Brady.
Absolutely. So the biggest surprise of the weekend, I'm sure in everybody's book, is how the Cleveland Pittsburgh game ended up playing out.
Jeez. That was tough.
And even as somebody who picked Cleveland to win this game, never saw it going like this in any manner. I don't even know how much you can talk about with that game in particular. But what is it that you found interesting about that one?
The game went how I thought it would go, but just the other way around. So I
Yeah.
had Cleveland shooting themselves in the foot super early. Asking Baker Mayfield to get out of character. They know they're coming in, going to stop the run, so we're going to do all this bootleg and play action. That's what I had Cleveland doing. So I had
Yeah.
Pittsburgh going up by a bunch of points, at least 2 possessions early. At halftime, if we're looking at a 21-10 game, I'm sitting here saying, yeah, or either 17-3, something like that. I just didn't have Cleveland scoring a bunch of points. It couldn't have gotten they couldn't have gotten off to a worse start if you the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I mean, 28-0. Some things you can't control. The snap, 7 points, can't control. Big Ben overthrows. I think it was the running back that start the first interception. Then he got a tip ball intercept. Fluke plays, whatever you want to deem it. However, once that was It was
the score right after that one.
Yeah, was it Kareem Hunt?
I think it was Chubb that time.
Was it?
I think
Yeah,
it was
they both was gashing them. And we are back. Once again, we have Shabazz McClellan still with us. Shabazz, thank you for joining us once again. Now we get to take a dive and look into this Tampa Bay versus New Orleans Saints matchup this weekend. Shabazz, first of all, who are you taking in this game and why?
I'm taking New Orleans. I'm taking New Orleans not because I'm a Saints fan, because simply the fact that the Saints they're rolling defensively, man. They're just balling. They're doing without Quan, and they did it without Hendricks last game. And Hendricks led us in sacks with 13 and a half. So if you're doing that,
second in the league.
Right, he's number 2 in the league. So that's huge. So the nucleus of the defense is just clicking. I see them communicating when we got motion. They're just talking on the field. They're just in the right position. They playing gap control, sound ball. It's just, I just don't believe Tom. Even though Tom he's known to know what you in and he can, dissect you. He hasn't done it yet. He didn't do it this year with the Saints. So I believe film. I believe in the eye in the sky. Saints they're gonna pull it off, man. And I just wish they add a little bit more of the fans, because that's kind of this year has been kind of a weird year. The numbers have been kind of like. I'm gonna say everybody, like quarterbacks that normally don't throw 40 touchdowns or 30 plus touchdowns have been able to check at the line because they don't have the crowd involved. The home crowd has not played it factor. Everybody know in the Superdome when it's full capacity, you're not getting to be 80. You ain't gonna be able to check like that.
Yeah, perfect example was yesterday with Seattle.
Right. So that's the only thing that I'm kind of worried about, but I'm not. But the defense is gonna win the championship, and I believe, like Sid said, the secondary, the Buccaneers, they've been real shaky. They've inconsistent. They've been got up. Man, no disrespect to them, but Washington quarterback that been going to online virtual class, he was balling though. I can't take nothing from the guy. Yeah. He was balling, but you supposed to be licking your chops when you a seasoned vet. Like, y'all ain't supposed to let that happen. He was throwing dimes on him.
He was, but like, man.
Drew Brees, he did. He balled out. But Drew Brees, he should handle business on his side. But most importantly, I just think the Saints defense, they're playing. They just say they gave up only 3 points. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah. That little touchdown, they gave up 3 points in a playoff game, and they had the chance to not give up no big touchdowns and no big plays. So I'm going with the Saints, man.
Gotcha. Sid, obviously, I know what direction you're leaning, much as we talk on and off air. You all, mister, it's not hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. So I know where you land your head at the end of the day. You spoke about the defense of Tampa Bay, and you say that you question their secondary to lack of. So far, the receivers that have threatened Tampa Bay's secondary has been speed receivers, which New Orleans are not known for having speed receivers. Mm-hmm. Do you still think we can be effective with our receiving corps, with our tight ends? We know we got Alvin Kamara, who's going to catch a bunch of balls out the backfield. Mm-hmm. Do you still see us being successful on the offensive side of the ball?
100%. For one, Tampa Bay went into Saturday the same way the Saints went into Sunday. This is a game that they should have went into, that I'm sure they expected to go into, and be able to really force their will and make a statement against a Washington team who went in without a starting quarterback, without a quarterback that they've even had a full season. And then they go in against a defense whose front seven or defensive line is really good, but outside of that, the defense can be had, And me and you talked offline about how Tampa Bay's O-line really stepped up against that D-line.
Right tackle.
Yeah, and they still gave up 3 sacks, but for the most part, they were able to really control that line of scrimmage. They even came out of that with 160 rush yards against with Ronald Jones going down early. They still were able to come out and get 160 rush yards. So when you look at that game and you say, man, Tom went out there, threw for over 350, and they ran for 160. How was the outcome of this game 31-23? is their defense not stopping nothing.
Yeah.
I told you earlier today, if that was any other quarterback, they probably would have got Saturday, you know? And then when you look at the receivers they gave it up to, the number one receiver for Washington was this dude I had never heard of, C. Sims. Like, I've never even heard of this guy before.
Yeah.
But he seemed more of a possession receiver to me than a speedster. So, yeah, so I don't expect them to be able to slow down the run much, even though their defensive line is pretty solid as well. But I don't expect them to be able to keep us from running the football. And I don't expect Michael Thomas. There's nothing they're gonna be able to do with Michael Thomas. Let's just go ahead and put that one out there. But then if you add in a performance like Deontay Harris gave us Sunday, you know, if you're going to get a performance like that out of a guy like him, or whether it's Emmanuel Sanders or Jared Cook or, hell, Kamara out the backfield, I don't think that's something that Tampa Bay can stop. And part of it is because they've proven that they couldn't have in 2 meetings before, and they proved they couldn't against a third-string quarterback last week in Washington. So what you going to do with Drew Brees, you know?
Gotcha. Well, I hate being a Saints fan that says, well, they played bad against a third-string quarterback. What you think Drew Brees going to do with him? Because it's all about playoff matchups, and this is the playoffs, the biggest matchups of them all. Yeah. And you know Tampa want a little payback. If I'm Mike Evans, I can't wait to line up in front of Lattimore. You know, if I'm Tom Brady, I can't wait to have the opportunity to go out here and outplay Drew Brees in his dome, you know. So I know they're going to bring all that they have. I'm taking New Orleans in this game as well, Shabazz, just like yourself, not because I'm a Saints fan, but because the numbers don't lie. Every time we played Tampa this year, they tried to take away Kamara. They tried to stop the run. Well, that just means that Drew Brees get to spread the ball around, and that's when he's at his best. When Drew can throw the ball in the first half to 5 and 6 different receivers, and he's only 4 or 5 incompletes, already thrown the ball 20 times, 3 of the incompletes was throwaways and things of that nature, that's when Drew Brees is at his best. He gets rid of the ball quick against Tampa, and he gets everybody involved. There's no way that Tampa could do both, take away our pass and take away our run. They're going to have to live with either allowing Drew to take underneath and short and be super accurate, which that's what he is anyway, or they're going to have to adjust and do something they didn't do the first 2 times and live with Alvin Kamara running the ball, which no way in the world they do that. So when you add it all up, man, I'm taking New Orleans simply because the defense is just phenomenal. And Drew Brees against Tampa this year has been lights out. In the 2 games this year, Drew was 44 for 62, 382 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, no INTs, and only have been sacked twice. That's once in each game. So I'm definitely rolling New Orleans. Our defense, we give Tampa hell. And that's one of the things that is crazy about the Saints, because we get up to play the good teams. Like me and Sid talked about the performance the defense laid out there against Kansas City earlier this year. We like, bro, we lost. We allowed 30 points, but they couldn't have played no better. Like, they were phenomenal. Yeah, they just needed a little bit more from the offense. Right. But then we play against the Bears, and I just feel like, you know, we play below our standard. So knowing that this is a game we're going to have to get up for, I have all the faith in the world in our defense.
And both of the previous games, Michael Thomas didn't play in, right?
Right.
So that's going to be a big difference in this one.
No, he played in the first one. He played in the first one? Yeah, because Carlton James had him, remember? Man-to-man. And Carlton James, remember I was telling you he played him pretty good.
I thought he played in both of them, honestly, because I think that was his first game back.
His first game, yeah. But he really didn't do much, I don't think, that second game.
He didn't. Okay. Second game.
So having a healthy Mike Thomas is going to be a big difference. And like we talked about this a few weeks ago with Tampa Bay's defense and their D-line specifically, because once again, I just don't have faith in their secondary at all. But even at D-line, it seems like they're really inconsistent as well. They'll go out there for a first half of football and not do anything, and then they're able to come out in the second half and really turn it up, and vice versa in some of those games. This for Tampa Bay to win, this has to be a game where they get pressure on Drew Brees throughout 4 quarters. 4 quarters got to be in his face.
And it's crazy you say that, because I'm sitting here and I have a question that I want to ask both of you. Obviously, all 3 of us having the Saints winning this game, and I wanted to throw the question out there: if Tampa do win, What would it take? And for me, it's Sue. I think Sue have to go back in his bag and play like he back in Detroit. He have to cause havoc up the middle, like you said, for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
If they want to be successful beating the New Orleans Saints. I think it's going to start and end with who controls the line of scrimmage. Shabazz, what you have? If Tampa is successful this game, how you think they go about doing that?
It's definitely gonna have to be the back end. The secondary gonna have to hold up long enough to make Drew hold the ball. That's what Drew struggled with in the pocket when he's not comfortable. He's holding the ball because he's not comfortable enough to throw it in the window. That's where he's normally could just flick his wrist. But that's when we couldn't get in trouble. That's when New Orleans get in trouble on offense. And when Drew start holding the ball just a tad too long, the clock not going off in his head because of the back end of the good secondary teams. Defend longer, that make the rush get stronger. That's what's gonna happen. And they're gonna have to stop the run. Obviously, they're gonna have to stop Kamara. If they can stop Alvin Kamara, then it could be a long day. It could be a long day. It could be a long day like that. But another thing, I know we were talking about the 3 games in a row. We all saw what happened last night with the Browns and the Steelers. Now, the Steelers came out flat. Now, I pray and hope that the Saints don't come out flat. Come out with a sense of urgency. Just because you beat them twice doesn't mean you're gonna get number 3. Now that could happen to us, but I don't think they will. But it can happen because Big Ben, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. They look like the team that was. The last 5 games, they won They went 1-5 the last 5 games of the season. So they look bad. I hope we don't come out flat. Those are 2 factors. The secondary for the Buccaneers is gonna have to play out their mind, and the Saints cannot come out playing flat. And I don't think Drew Brees would allow that because his leadership has been so vital for the Saints for the past 15 years. So if they come out flat and Drew holding the ball long, then we're gonna be texting each other. Oh, Red, I don't know, bro. We ain't looking good, bro. He holding the ball too long. And then, I like see it. Do not switch the quarterback in.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that.
When in high school, we kind of ran a 2-quarterback system. Now I know how that feel, bro. You looking over your shoulder. I think Drew is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he's looking over his shoulder. It's like, okay, when Sean gonna call? Takes him to come. You do, our gimmick plays. That's what they are. They're gimmick plays.
Yeah.
That gimmick play almost cost us points.
Yeah.
Because Taysom he held the ball too long. And playing quarterback in the NFL, it's a clock that you got to get it now. And it was a touchdown if you threw the ball, but I hate that it missed. I think it messes with Drew's rhythm. I think it really does.
Absolutely, it would mess with any quarterback's rhythm.
Right.
Throw somebody else in like that.
Right.
For me. It's something that you go into every game saying, "Oh, whoever wins the line of scrimmage." But this game more so than others because Tampa Bay's O-line has been it's been better than I guess it was last year, but it's still not a group that puts fear into anybody. Like I say, Saturday they did a great job against what we all consider a great defensive line. So that's something that they would have to repeat this week against New Orleans. And then on the opposite side of the football, once again, they got to get pressure for 4 quarters against Drew Brees. You give him time, he's going to make you pay because your secondary not going to be able to keep up with those weapons that's coming at you. So their O-line has to hold up and their defensive line has to get pressure. And one other thing is Mike Evans. If Mike Evans can come out of this headspace that Marshawn Lattimore has had him in over the past 2-3 seasons and be able to be some type of effective against him, that could change a lot too.
Let him out of jail. You got to let him out of jail.
He ain't got no get out of jail free calls. Lattimore ain't going, man.
And Lattimore really been locking him up. I ain't mean to cut y'all see it, but he been locking him up.
Yeah. He make his money off of him, man. For real. Well, it seemed like we all feel the same way about this matchup. And when Taysom Hill gets in the red zone and he jump up again and throw that ball again, and this time it's for a touchdown, I don't want y'all to be blowing me up saying that's our future quarterback, man. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know that right now.
I would be hitting you up saying, Red, I just broke my TV, bro. They put the in the red zone. I done lost it. I done broke my TV, man.
My man jumped up and threw the doggone ball, man.
I thought Tim Tebow was back there for a second, man. That's doing that Tebow ball.
That man is a muscle playing quarterback. He a big muscle out there just playing quarterback, man. Well,
I do like the way we utilize him, though. I like how we utilize him.
Definitely, and it's going to have to continue to be that because I honestly see him getting just the amount of snaps as he got this Sunday. I see him getting the same amount of snaps this Sunday. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The more successful we are on offense, doing whatever we're doing, the more opportunities he's going to get to line up that quarterback.
Yep.
Well, I'm happy we all have New Orleans winning this game. It's definitely going to be a lot of texting going on this weekend, this Sunday. So, Shabazz, thank you once again, bro, for taking time out of your day, kicking it with us, man. We really appreciate it. And we always, you're our second guest. We have this segment where we allow you guys to plug anything you want to do. So anything that you have going on, I know you have your TV show. You also got your podcast coming soon. Go ahead and let everyone know where they can reach you at.
Man, my Twitter is Smackham85, at Smackham85, SMACM85. That's my Twitter handle. Facebook, just type in Shabazz McClellan. I'm on that. I'm on Instagram. I'm Smackham85 as well on Instagram, on IG. And yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna keep listening in, subscribing to you guys, man. Love what you guys doing, man. Love the content that y'all bring every week. Hopefully I get on here after we win a Super Bowl or something, man, where we can celebrate on our podcast, man. So I'll definitely be keeping up in touch with y'all. I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right, boss. Thank you, man.
Once again, thank you to Shabazz for joining us for the Saints-Bucks preview. And now we're going to go ahead and look at the rest of the divisional round. The first game of the weekend is the Los Angeles Rams visiting the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are -7 going into that game. How do you see that one playing out?
It all comes down to the health of Aaron Donald. If Aaron Donald is 90%, believe it or not, I like the Rams' chances. I really do feel if Aaron Donald is good to go, the Rams have a very good chance of winning this ball game. Of course, the weather plays a factor. However, when you think of true matchups, what causes Aaron Rodgers to not be himself? Like any other great passer, pressure. Who has the best defensive lineman in all of football? The Rams. Who's the only receiver? I read something yesterday. Keep in mind, I think Adams has missed 3 games this year.
Yeah.
3. He still has, I want to say, it was 90 to 100 targets more than any other receiver for the Green Bay Packers. And after missing 3 games. We already know what you're going to get from Jalen Ramsey. He's about to go lockdown city. I'm going to make everything hard. So you already controlling the line of scrimmage. Green Bay's already down their star left tackle. You have to see Aaron Donald. You have to see Leonard Floyd. By the way, you can't have your best receiver. What do we get from Aaron Rodgers? I think we get a basic quarterback who's not going to turn the ball over, who's going to take those check downs, and the Rams basically play bend but don't break defense.
Yeah.
Green Bay defense is not good enough to put the pressure on them defenses to rely on them to win. I really do think the Rams have a good chance of winning this ball game. I just don't know the condition Aaron Donald is in.
Yeah.
If he would have never got hurt last week, I really would take the Rams in this game. But not knowing his health, not knowing how available he's going to be, I have to take the Packers because of that.
And I see it a little differently. I see the difference in this game being the secondary of the Rams outside of Jalen Ramsey. The guys who's going to be matched up on Valdez-Scantling and Lazard and the tight end Tanyan, I think is his name. Those guys. And how well they're going to be able, and how well they're going to be able to match up against them, because like you say, we know what Jalen Ramsey going to do. And we've seen in the past, Aaron Rodgers completely avoid a side of the field that has a corner like that on it. So what is and even with the defensive line of the Rams they're going to get their pressure on him. But Aaron Rodgers is one of the better quarterbacks at being able to get out of harm's way and still deliver pretty accurate throws down the field. It's just going to come down to, is there anybody down the field for him to be able to complete these passes to? I think that Green Bay, the Rams quarterback situation is going to be a big factor in this too. Both of their quarterbacks on the injury report now. They're claiming that, we know Jared Goff's injury. We know he had surgery. They're saying Wolford, he should be fine as well. So I guess it depends on who goes out there for them at quarterback and how healthy they can be. Because I think a pretty healthy Jared Goff can have his way against this Green Bay defense, especially with the weapons he have in Woods, Cooper Kupp, and then those tight ends, Gerald Everett and Tyler Higbee, and then if Cam Akers is going to have another performance like he did last week,
that boy came on. This
may as well be a shootout.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it's going to come down to. The secondary of the Rams outside of Jalen Ramsey against the receiving core of Green Bay outside of Devontae Adams. And I don't know, man. This is Aaron Rodgers has said he thinks this is probably his best season as a quarterback outside of maybe that 2011 season. And I just find it hard to bet against him in this situation at home. Like you say, weather's probably going to end up playing a factor. And then against a quarterback who, when healthy, isn't deemed to be that great, but now you're looking at him injured as well. So how much can he be effective against that defense? So I think I'm going to go Green. I'm going to go Green Bay as well, but I don't see them winning by a touchdown. I can see it being a field goal game.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, the thing about Sean McVay's offense, that his basically almost a true West Coast, is that the quarterback job isn't real hard. You already have two outlets by the time the play action ends, and they both are quick reads. So it's not like he has to depend on his his quarterback to go out here and compete with Aaron Rodgers. That's not the deal. They're going to try to eat up the clock. And like you said, Cam Akers, that's going to be the difference maker. Yeah. I was waiting on. I thought we was going to see this Cam Akers from week 1 or 2, all the way throughout the year. It took him very late in the year to catch his net with this offense, and they deemed him the starter because they was running the ball by committee using 3 running backs actually at one time. But then they named him the starter. He had a couple 100 yards rushing games back to back. Then he got hurt. First game back was this past weekend, which he looked like he's still back to his old self. So I hate picking Green Bay because I want to pick the Rams because that's who I truly think is going to win, but it comes down to the health of Aaron Donald. If Aaron Donald was 100%, if there was no questioning behind Aaron Donald, I would take the Rams in this game.
Got you. So the second game we got Saturday is the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Buffalo Bills. Man, I'm still not sold on Baltimore. I haven't been all year. I'm still not even after their victory last week against Tennessee. I am sold on Buffalo. I'm good on their defense. I'm good on betting on Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Their run game, I just know not to expect too much of it outside of Josh Allen. Like I say, he's been somehow he's improved his accuracy from last year to this year. And then once again, adding a receiver like Stephon Diggs only helps. Baltimore's defense, like you say, they have great corners, not real big on their linebacker situation. And like you say, the D-line that they basically built over the offseason to stop a Derrick Henry probably won't help them too much trying to contain a Josh Allen going into this week. I feel like with all of these games, it's going to be close matchups. I don't really think any of these games are going to get any type of two possession victories over this weekend. I can see this being another field goal game. and it probably works more in favor for Baltimore than it does for Buffalo. If we're being honest, with Justin Tucker. But I gotta roll with Buffalo, man. They've been outperforming anybody's estimations for this season, and I don't see that stopping now against Baltimore.
Yeah. So, me too. I take the Bills. I came very close to taking the Ravens in this game. So, a couple things that I like from the Ravens, if I'm looking at it from the Ravens standpoint, I love their defense. I love the defense. I
You
love their
love
secondary.
that defense. That's crazy.
sorry?
Yeah. I said no.
Yeah.
I said you love their defense because we feel completely different about their
Yeah.
defense outside of those two corners.
I feel like they have a playoff defense. It's not necessarily, we're going to show up every Sunday and do this and do that. Now, they got a lot of veterans. They got speed on the outsides, and their corners are great. You have a great zone corner. I don't know why Marcus Peters is thought of as a man corner, but he's mostly a zone corner, and he's great at it. He's not physical. He's not going to get all in your face. He's going to pick his shots, get a flow of the game, and then it's read and react. And then you got Humphreys, who's just a dog. He's out there hunting. He wants the best guy. He can travel with the best guy. He's probably faster than your best receiver. He's long, and he has great ball skills. And the Ravens don't beat themselves. The only thing I don't like about the Ravens, and this is the whole reason I'm picking Buffalo, is we haven't seen Lamar Jackson win a playoff game or even a big game with his arm and his arm alone. The Bills are going to do their best to minimize his running and live with the rest. He has no true connection with none of his receivers. He has no timing routes. It's none of that. I mean, to this point of his career, his tight end is his most, thrown to option. Baltimore linebackers are fast. You know what I'm saying? They can play the pass better than they can play the run. Josh Allen do have a star receiver. Cole Beasley being out again is going to hurt them. However, in the course
he played last week, so I think he's going to play this week.
He was on the pitch count, though. He didn't play nearly as much as he normally do.
Yeah. So and I saw John Brown didn't play much last week too.
But the thing about it, I think the Ravens are going to play man-to-man defense with one safety over top. That's going to be their base defense that they roll with a spy on Lamar Jackson. They have a couple guys who I think they're going to use at the spy position. Patrick Queen probably being one of them. Josh Allen on the other end, he's been used to being in situations like this from playing against New England 2 times a year, especially last year when Buffalo gave them 2 great games. But the lack of offensive weapons that Josh Allen had last year, he wasn't able to beat the Patriots. You give him Diggs this year, and he's knocked the Patriots off. So he's more used to seeing what he's going to. He's already used to facing teams the way that I think the Ravens are going to try to control him versus Lamar Jackson being asked to just flat out and go win the game for us. So that's why I'm going with the Bills. I think Josh Allen make more plays with his arm than Lamar Jackson made.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo's defense is going to be able to contain that run offense a good bit.
Right.
And then, like you say, it comes down to Lamar Jackson's arm. Right. And for one, Hollywood Brown had that big game last week, but then this week he's going to have Tre'Davious White standing across from him, who's going to eliminate whatever it is he tries to do. So where are you going now? Because once again, the focus is always going to be on Mark Andrews. So where are these other guys that's going to be able to get open and provide help to Lamar Jackson? And we haven't seen it all season. I don't think we're going to end up starting to see that now.
Yep, but I think I have this one being close as well. A 3 to 6 point game.
Yeah, and the line is 2.5 in the Bills' favor.
Yeah, I can see that.
So our last game, which is the first one of Sunday, is the Browns visiting the Chiefs. This is the biggest spread of the week, obviously, with the Chiefs being out there. The Chiefs are -10.
I have the Chiefs winning this game. I would say probably by 9. I don't like the 10. I really think it could be a 7-point game just by how much the Browns naturally run the football.
Yeah.
And KC can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass for that much neither. But this is one of those games that I really think that everybody has credit the success of Baker Mayfield to the loss of Odell Beckham. I think this is going to be a game where they say, man, we wish we had Odell. Because KC going to give you a lot of man looks. And although he got tight ends he can throw the ball to, a guy like Odell Beckham in open space is much different than any tight end in football. So I think they're going to shrink the field. Obviously, they're still going to try to run the ball. And I think they're going to have their success on the ground. Pat Mahomes is just he's just on another level right now, man. He's going to make you pay for every time you decide to punt the football.
Yeah.
So the Cleveland Browns are going to have to stay ahead of the chains. They're going to have to neutralize the clock. They're going to have to do all those things. But it's hard to do that when you're missing so many starters. Them winning last week was a miracle, you know. So being shorthanded against a team as talented as KC, and let's not forget, KC, they've been resting for 3 weeks now because they pulled their starters the last week of the season. And then they had to bye. So when they play Sunday, this would be their first time playing. This Sunday would make exactly 3 weeks. So they are healthy all over. The nagging injury Tyreek Hill did have, I'm more than sure he's 100% good to go. They had time to game plan and make all their adjustments. Andy Reid is a great coach. We spoke about Coach of the Year, and I told you he was my Coach of the Year. And Pat Mahomes, man. When all fails, Pat Mahomes.
I don't think that too many people are going to even give Cleveland a chance in this game. Mm-hmm. I do, mainly because of, as you said, the natural habit they have of running the ball and being successful at running the football. If they can have more drive ending touchdowns rather than field goals, that'll definitely work in their favor. But it's all about it's going to be about controlling the clock against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Because the faster you give them the ball back, the faster they're going to score and be ready to do so again.
Exactly.
So if they can control that time of possession by running the football and it actually leading to touchdowns, they have a good chance of winning this game. But once again, the fact that Kansas City is coached by Andy Reid, who is a top 3 coach in this league, in my opinion, and then you got Mahomes, who is a top 3 quarterback in this league. By the end of it, they're going to get you. Especially if Mahomes has the ball last, then he's going to get you. You know. So once again, I don't see it being a 10-point game. Like I say, a touchdown. I think it could be a touchdown, a late touchdown, and Cleveland has to try to go and match that, having the ball last, and just can't do it. But yeah, I'm rolling with Kansas City, but I don't see them winning by 10.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I like KC with 7 or 9, but I'll take KC point spread. I'll take the 10.
Okay.
I just thought about something. Denzel Ward is still out too, so that means no way they're gonna go out there playing a lot of man. So, So I'll take KC plus the 10.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that Denzel Ward. He was the one guy who I would say I feel somewhat safe in front of Tyreek Hill because Denzel Ward can run too. Of course, he's not Tyreek Hill, but he can run, and he's a pretty good corner. He's one of the better corners in football. But Cleveland is just too short-handed right now, man. And Pat Mahomes, he's gonna make you pay.
Exactly. So out of the 4 games we touched on, because we went chalk. I hate going chalk on all of the games, but we went chalk. We did. Yeah, we picked. You picked Buffalo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we picked the home teams. We picked all 4 home teams. Okay. We picked our favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
So out of those 4 games, which to you is the most likely to be an upset? If you had to pick one upset, which game would you feel like would be the most likely?
The Ravens.
The Ravens?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Once again, man, all these games we're saying a field goal, maybe a touchdown outside of that Browns-Chiefs game. I think I got to go Rams-Packers, man.
Rams-Packers?
I think I gotta go Rams. I really think the Rams can get that game. Like you say, it definitely depends on the health of Aaron Donald, and it depends on the health of their quarterbacks going into that game too. But they have, if Cam Akers is going to be able to run the football like he has towards the end of the season, and their defense is going to go out there and do what they've done every week this season, I definitely have faith in them being able to win that game. Surprisingly,
I got you. And for me, the reason why I went with the Ravens is obviously Lamar Jackson plays quarterback and the ball is in his hands every single snap.
Yeah.
And when you have that guy, and I mean he's pound for pound probably the most athletic, fastest guy on the field, period.
Yeah.
You always have a chance. And then you need a little luck, and it just feels like the Ravens' year. It feels like their year. They came up short the last 2 years. And this just feels like their year to me.
Got you. There was two more things I wanted to touch on with you before we got out of here today. One is the firing of Doug Peterson. That we discussed at the end of the season may be a possibility. I think you felt it was too early to move on from him, especially him being 2 seasons removed from a Super Bowl, and all the injuries that he's dealt with over these years. And I felt like it was already time to get rid of him. So a week after we have that discussion, they get rid of Peterson. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, I thought it was too early because I told you I was in Philly for the Saints game at Philly this year, and the talk around town was everyone was just ready to move on from Dougie P. And I'm like, bro, do y'all think Super Bowls just fall down the sky? You know what I'm saying? Like, this man helped orchestrate, this team. He helped build this team and got them to the promised land. And just being around town, I never developed that sense of appreciation for Dougie P. Once again, I'm not a Philly citizen, of course, so I'm not sure how long it's been going on down there that they felt like he had little to do with the success. I'm not sure. Yeah. However, you just don't fire coaches that just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. But after what he did week 17, if you would have asked me then, man, like it was right on time. It's nothing he can say at this point, right? Because what I think about is the only thing that made sense, like we said, if him and the GM talk, they already had it established. I don't care how well these guys are playing. I have other guys that I'm going to play in the second half. I don't care what's going on. Okay, cool. But then why put your starters out there in the first place? Why put your best offensive line out there? Why put the quarterback that's been starting the last couple games, who everyone expects to be the starter? Why do that? And then you got a healthy scratch Alshon Jeffries. You got a healthy scratch Deshaun Jackson. But you're going to let Zach Ertz out there and play, the guy who's been holding out with an injury that they feel like haven't even been in. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do it? It makes no sense. So how can he justify that if he's going, you bring him in for a coaching interview and you ask him that question, what happened week 17? What can he say to make you feel comfortable? You know what I'm saying? As an owner, as a GM, to say we can ride with this guy. So, yeah, to me, it was right on time, man. After doing what he did, if he would have never did that week 17, I would say, it's too early. But after what he did week 17, he got to go.
And I was already in favor of them moving on from him just because things seem to have gotten so bad so fast. Even if you're only looking at the relationship between Carson Wentz and how that ended up fading over this last season. But I still believe he should be a head coach. And it looks like he's going to get his opportunity sooner than later. They're talking about him maybe joining the Jets as their head coach. The other coaching news I wanted to ask you about, because I know we feel differently about it, is Dan Quinn taking over the defense in Dallas for the Cowboys. You weren't in favor of that. What was your thinking behind that one?
Because he lost the locker room in Atlanta. That's why I don't like it. I don't have a problem. In the National Football League, you need talent to win. Like, coaches can manage, keep game close, all that good stuff, but you need talent to win. So I didn't expect him to win a division, I didn't expect him to have a team that's going to show up every Sunday. But when you completely lose control of your locker room, when you allow Dallas to come back and win that game, and I mean you allow Tampa Bay to come back and win this game. They've had 3 or 4 games like this just this season alone.
Yeah.
Just this season alone, they've had maybe 3 games that happen that way. You already lost the Super Bowl, the biggest game of them all, in the same style of fashion. And we only won 2 games at this point, the Falcons. It's late in the season, and we see guys get a penalty and they're laughing about it. We see guys get called for holding and they're laughing and slapping hands with the other team. We got guys begging to get out of Atlanta, saying how crazy they are. Stupid. I'm sorry. The DN he called them stupid. You got offered a 3rd for me last year and you didn't trade me. This year you get offered a 4th. You know, why are y'all holding me up? I don't want to be here. And you know, you just lost the locker room, bro. You lost the locker room. You lost the locker room. It's hard for me to think a team like Dallas. If you would have said a more veteran team, Harbaugh decided to step away. Baltimore's looking for a head coach. Cool. I mean, any team like that, any veteran team where he doesn't have to go in and control the locker room. But Dallas, they already got the talent, bro. They need somebody who's going to make them play and show up every Sunday.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's not him. And I was nervous when Dan Quinn first came to Atlanta. I was shaking in my boots because I saw what he did in Seattle. Exactly. And I thought we were about to see the second coming of it. But when was Atlanta ever known for defense and his whole tension with the team?
And that's my biggest takeaway from it is what you just alluded to about Seattle. Regardless of how much recognition or how much success you give to Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, all those guys that were on their defense, a lot of that credit also goes to Dan Quinn. And some coaches are really meant to just be position coaches or coordinators, not head coaches. I think that's Dan Quinn. I think head coach was too much for him. I think him getting back into a position where he's only worried about defense, because I feel like the scheming is there. You've talked about a lot of times this season when we talked about Atlanta, how it's a player problem in Atlanta too, as well. It's not just coaching at that point or culture. It was the players at that point that just gave up on whatever it was going on there. I think he is going to be able to take the talent that Dallas already does have, even though there's some improving they have to do on the defense side of the ball too. But I think his scheming and his coaching is going to be able to get them to a place defensively that they haven't been. They haven't been in a while. I think he's going to be able to do that. Like I said, I think head coaching was just too much for him. And the year that they got to the Super Bowl, he was bailed out by having Kyle Shanahan as his offensive coordinator. So I think head coaching was just too much for him. I think defensive coordinator is where he belongs, just kind of like Todd Bowles. The same way he went off trying to do his own thing, didn't work for him. He's back in Tampa Bay making some things work. I see it a lot like that situation.
Yeah, and I definitely think that he would do better as a DC than a head coach. However, he's going to get another opportunity to be a head coach, whether it's next year, 3-4 years down the line. He's going to get another chance. It's just I think he needs to go to someone that's a little bit more proven than the Dallas Cowboys. He needs to go play for an organization that has a team that's already playing hard, but they just don't have the players. To me, that makes more sense for him than going the way of I'm trying to change the culture in a locker room. I don't think he's the guy you turn to change the culture in Dallas.
And we'll absolutely see, man. Next week by this time, I'm sure there'll be a couple more vacancies filled out. These head coaching vacancies, they got to start filling up eventually.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. We hope y'all enjoyed the show. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and checking it out. Reg, as always, it's been a pleasure, man, and we'll see how the divisional round plays out.
And big shout out to my boy, man, Mojo Forbes. My partner gave us the music. Big shout out. We appreciate it. Know you're a big fan of the show, my boy. I appreciate it, man.
Shout out again to Shabazz for joining us for that review of Saints Bears and that preview of Saints Bucks for this weekend too. Really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good.
Nigga, I'm in the league, you boys not in my league. If you listen close, I'm coaching. Take heed, cause the boy hella dope without pushing a Blanco. Still stabbing bitches like 94 in the Bronco. If it's about the money, I'm leaving them hoes pronto. If I don't do nothing, I'm about line so.